Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I asked you guys if you had any questions surrounding Warcraft Rumble, and this video is all of the answers to these different questions. I was supposed to do this on the Rumblecast, but Xcalibur was not available to record an episode this week, so I thought maybe we should do it on a series on this channel. We could have a guest possibly. So if you guys have any other question you guys want answers to, make sure to tell me down below in the comments. And if you guys love the content, make sure to like and subscribe. And without further ado, we'll jump into our first question here. Paul Sid asks, what is the most impactful PvP skill? Knowing the counters, deck building, learning the meta, microing fights with careful positioning, knowing when to spend gold and when to bank. Yeah, so all of these are great examples of very important skills to have in Warcraft Rumble. Stuff like microing fights with careful positioning is something you are going to develop with time, so you just have to spend some time and I guess try some different stuff. But I would say the most impactful PvP skill would be to knowing the counter, but also identifying the counters in your opponent's deck. And this is really important because once you do understand the counters that your opponent is playing against your deck, well, then you can easily manage around them. So for example, and I used that example in my last video, but if you're playing something that gets countered by the safe pilot, right? Well, then, so you identify that it's the safe pilot. You know your deck is weak to safe pilot. You identify that your opponent has safe pilot, which is an extremely common example. But then, because you know that your opponent is using his safe pilot to counter let's say your gargoyle or your necromancer or something like that, well then you can play a lot of other stuff to bait the counter to bring your opponent to play his thing, and when he does that, then you can get the most value from your necromancer, which is the example I gave. So I would say identifying counters, or so knowing the counters, which is what you said, and then identifying the counters is really important in my opinion. Probably one of the most important skill in the game. But again, learning the meta kind of goes with knowing the counters. And then microing fights, like I just mentioned, this is just like, it takes time, takes just experience, but you'll get much better at it. And then knowing when to spend gold, when to bank, that's also another good one. Knowing when to spend gold is important. It kind of goes once again with the whole identifying, knowing the counters thing, is once you know what your opponent has, and when he plays, you know, you can follow at how much gold your opponent is. And then when he spends that gold, it kind of restricts him from playing one of the counters. And then you could play your stuff and get some more value out of. But all of these are a great example. Honestly, it's kind of sad to say, but deck building is probably the least important. I think if you get some, it's more like deck understanding, which is important, because you can copy someone's deck. We need to understand how the deck works, and you, which is much harder than actually creating a deck, because you can create a deck, but then you have to learn all the different interaction with all the meta decks, with all the off meta decks, and all of that. But yeah, knowing the counters and identifying the counters is going to be my answer of the single most impactful skill in PvP. Shadows ask, in the first map, there is an empty location. What do I think it's going to be? So, Shadows is referring to the circle that is right here. So, what I think this is going to be, and that's purely speculative, but I think it might be raids here. Why am I saying that? Because we see here on the left side of the map, we have the dungeons that are in the smaller region in the middle of the left continent, right? Here we know it's going to be Mooglade. So it would be fair to assume that this is where the raids would be, because they would mimic the dungeons that are in the other continent, and plus they're located at the same place. So yeah, I think I might be right on this theory, but we'll know soon enough. Brother asks, how do I feel about daily quests? So, I am not someone that does many daily quests. I think it's a cool system to have. I love the PvE missions. I think they are beautiful. However, I do not really do quests. I'm a big fan of PvP, but I know it's daunting to play PvP for some people. So quests are really important in the game, but I mean, they definitely need to be modified in my opinion, or enhanced. They're either too easy or too hard to be worth to do. It kind of feels really, really grindy. I think we should perhaps, let's say we had like larger challenges, season challenges, right? Where you had to do quests and then you could get like a unique reward, like a skin, something like that. I don't know. I love the fact that there's replayability in some of these campaigns because, for example, any of these missions I already completed, but then with quests I can play them again. But they need readjusting. Perhaps level scaling or better level scaling is what I should say. I don't know. Guys, make sure to tell me down below your thoughts on the daily quests. They are important because if we did not have daily quests, we couldn't really fill this reward track easily. Because let's say you were stuck at a certain mission, well then you would need to do mission you already played and already got the reward to without getting more reward other than the track. So it would feel bad. So it's important quests right here, but I think they could be in a better spot. But honestly, I haven't thought about it more than that. Please tell me down below your thought, guys, on quests. MZG147 asks, what mini would you add to the game? Oh, that's a good question. So I would probably, I'm a big fan of the poison trait or poisoned, trait or the poison minis. But right now they are horrible, right? So the way poison works is that you add some stacks and every time you add a new stack, the timer resets. And I think it's like 40 damage every seconds for like 8 seconds or something like that. But if you add more stacks at, let's say, the last of the second of that 8 second, the timer restarts. So I like the whole idea of poison. You want to keep the minion as poison as long as possible, but at the same time you want to add as much stack as possible. So I would add like a mini that or a spell that plays a lot into that archetype. So for example, like a cheap spell that adds a stack of poison to all the minis that are poison or something like that would be very, very interesting. There could be some life healing from poison, some stuff like that. So any mini surrounding poison is the type of mini I would add to the game. I want this poison archetype to be viable. The Stranger asks, what is your current plan for Onyxia if you have one? So I do have a plan for Onyxia. I'm not at Onyxia yet. Onyxia has level 30 minis. However, I have some minis that are level 26, but it's very, very rare. So I have maybe 1 or 2. And being 5 level under for Onyxia is pretty hard. But I know some people, such as like Tic Tac, have done it with like level 26, 27. So I'm getting close to that point where I could beat Onyxia. So I'm working towards it. I'm working on some minis that I know are going to be good against Onyxia, such as Meat Wagon. I don't really play Meat Wagon in PvP that much, but I'm still upgrading the Meat Wagon because I know it's so important against Onyxia and stuff like that. So my plan is to upgrade those mini a little bit more. Once I do get a few more minis to level 26, I might attempt it. But like my Rand, I believe, is weak, and Rand is really important. Rand is a good way of actually doing this Onyxia run. But my Rand is really weak, so I might have to invest in my Rand. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm still giving myself a little bit of a buffer, but I think I'll try to get Onyxia done before the raid, which should happen in February. Fingers crossed. So yeah, something like that. In season 3 is what I would hope. Idolonian asks, best all-around PvE team to get to and beat Onyxia. So in the same vein as the last question, the best PvE team that I've seen to beat Onyxia is the one from Tic Tac. There's a lot of options. I know actually the Arclight Battery have been using Warsong Raider, so that's an interesting one. But the one I've seen from Tic Tac was using Rand Blackhand with Drake to clear both of the Whelp eggs lane, and then a lot of Meat Wagon to outrange Onyxia. So that was kind of like the main idea behind it, and then all of the rest was to support. So yeah, if you guys want to, I think there's a video on Tic Tac's channel, so you guys could go see this Tic Tac run on Onyxia. It's probably going to be the one I'm going to use to try Onyxia first, but I'll definitely make a video once I beat Onyxia to tell you guys how I did it. Everflame's Glory asks, we have individual leaderboards, but do you think they will implement guild leaderboards at some point? So we actually do not have leaderboards. So we do have leaderboard online, but it's on third-party apps where you have to log in, but we don't have a global leaderboard, or at least not in-game leaderboard or first-party leaderboard. We are going to have it. They already announced it at BlizzCon 2023, but we don't know when it's going to happen, probably with the PvP revamp, which once again, let's hope for season 3. We don't know, but let's hope. But yeah, they will add individual leaderboard, but we already have it from third-party sources. However, for guild leaderboards, once again, I think we do have some form of guild leaderboards for the third-party apps, such as Warcraft Rumble.gg and perhaps RumbleDB.com. Not too sure. So you guys can go see for where your guild ranks, but I don't know if Activision Blizzard will actually create a guild leaderboard, or at least in-game. They haven't announced it or anything, so I don't know if it's in their plan for the foreseeable future, but perhaps we are going to have a guild leaderboard one day. And then finally, we have D2 Jack asks, why don't you publish more decks on noff.gg? No reason. I have actually been just too tight in my schedule that I really didn't take the time to post my decks on noff.gg. But thank you for calling me out. I will doing this much more. So I just already uploaded my Baron Invader Gargoyle deck on noff.gg, but I'll try in the future to put all my decks there. If you guys want, you can go check my profile on noff.gg, and I'll post all of my decks when the video comes out with the according guide. But yeah, guys, this is going to be it for the Q&A. Once again, make sure to tell me down below, or ask me down below, any other question you guys might have. I'm going to do another community post before I do another episode. And also, guys, please tell me if you guys love this type of content. It's shorter, but I can answer pretty much all the questions you guys have, and I love doing it. So tell me if you guys do enjoy it, so I know to do more. And with that, I'm going to say have a good night, everyone. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next one, and bye, guys.